Julie Barfus's, Julie Barnes's new business that she's getting up and going. And
What is it, Lyle, and where? I don't know.
okay, so this is where our hardware is.
Oh, the ice cream shop.
And this is going to be the, it's really cool. The front is going to be an ice cream shop, and then the back is all these games that you can, electronic games that you can play.
Called Kicks.
Kicks.
There's one in
And,
Logan.
And it was quite impressive. They've done a lot of work over there, and I think it's going to be a really good thing. And we walked up and down and talked to the merchants and everything. So one thing we felt like maybe what we ought to do, and we've got this advisory committee that we got organized, and they're going to help us out as well. But it would kind of be good to sort of get some direction from the council here a little bit about Main Street and maybe some of the things we can do to create more vibrancy over there. There's, you know, and what I'm going to talk about tonight is sort of based on a study that we did back in an online study that we did back in 2017 and 18. And then we had some open houses that we invited the public in and whatnot. But what I thought I would do is just kind of share with you some of the feelings of this. And by the way, this is, I'm sure maybe Blair, you and Jeff haven't seen this, but I think everybody else has probably seen this book, and it's the publication that was put together about our Main Street plan. Anyway, so as I kind of went through this, the first thing I looked at was sort of what people, what they sort of like about Main Street. You know, they like, you know, not surprisingly, I guess, they like the feel of Main Street. They like the Midland Square. They like the pots and the trees on Main Street. I think I'm going to turn the time over to Brett, and maybe he can talk a little more about that in just a minute. They like probably the most common response was that they like the small town feel. They like what, you know, they like it, the feel of Three Mountain. They like the quaintness of it. Some of them like the, you know, it has old history to it. They like that. You know, the murals were big. We have made a concerted effort over the last several years to put murals in, and that's something that that actually draws people into the downtown area that want to go and visit those. And I personally have taken people around that are from out of town and shown them the murals because they wanted to see them. Oh, there we go. Sorry. Okay. Well, that wasn't important anyway, what I said. All right. What people don't like, you know, one of the comments was, you know, it feels like Main Street's just a road with no color or scenery. And people just go from here to there, and really it's just a way to get to another spot. Nobody seems to want to stop. Another concern was during rush hour, nobody dares get off the you know, park and get out of their car. They feel afraid to do that. So with that in mind, what is your thought? What do you, as a council, maybe you can kind of give me give me a little bit of direction, and so we can go to this committee and we can say, this is sort of what we're kind of thinking here. Brett, you kind of walked around with me a little bit. What are your thoughts?
Your committee, are you guys trying to decide priorities, or are you trying to decide, what's your committee?
Okay, so this will be an advisory committee. They will not be a decision-making body, so they will They will advise, they will come up with some ideas. With regard to the Midland Square, the idea is to come up with some ideas, some concepts, 2 or 3 of them. And then what we would do is we would take those concepts, maybe bring them to here to the council and let you see them. And then if we're good to go, we let our planner, Sam, he said he can take those and then he'll make them into something professional. And actually, he's willing to do this for no extra charge. And then from that, we'll have a open house, invite in the public, and let them sort of decide. And so that's where we'll go to that point where we'll let the public sort of have their say, and then we'll come back and go from there. That's the plan.
As I walk up and down Main Street, I feel it needs to be more inviting. Okay, I'd like to see us do something completely different there. I think we need to really consider some facade grants, see what we can do to upgrade the fronts of the buildings, make it more inviting for people to want to put their businesses here. And if you go, now you're talking about this one from 2018, this,
Yeah.
yeah. You know, and they say that the Main Street approach organization involves building a Main Street framework well represented by businesses and property owners, bankers, citizens, and public officials. And so I see it as what can we do to entice more people to move into our downtown area and make it so they want to go there. You know, we walked the other day, and I would love to walk down and go eat some meals. You know, spend the day down there. I think the number one complaint that we got down on that walk was parking. Okay, and we know that's an issue. However, I think with some strategic design, we can do some things with signage and whatnot, we can get people parking along there. If you look at like 25th Street in Ogden, there's not a lot of parking there, okay? It's at the other ends, and then there's one parking lot right in the middle. But it's inviting to go walk that and spend some time there. And that's kind of what I envision, you know?
Could you share what you learned about Mr. Mills's property?
Oh, yeah, and I talked to brother Max Mills, and he owns a good portion of the property between Key Bank and his corner building there to the west of Key Bank. And he said that we are welcome to use that parking lot for parking. They don't use it much. He would like to work out some kind of deal that if he shares that with us, maybe we help him with some striping. Maybe we go in and we plow it for him. And I thought, well, those are pretty minimal asks for being able to use that property for parking. So I think there's businesses in town, especially on weekends and nights when they're not open, that they're more than willing to let us use their property for some parking. So I think we can address some of those issues. I'm going to put this in while I can. I would love to see the trees go down in Tremont on Main Street.
Knew that was coming.
I really would. They're just an eyesore. They're too big. And I think there's some things we can do with light poles and shrubbery. Well, not shrubbery, but flowers and signs and that we could make that so inviting downtown. But those are just some of my thoughts. But yeah, it was a good visit.
Yeah, it really was. Wow, you spent your whole career on Main Street.
Yeah, have.
What do you think?
I think, that study was done back in 2018, and we spent some good money on getting that done. And we didn't act on it. And so, if we're going to be doing something, we need to make a decision and move with it. A month ago, or maybe it's been 6 weeks ago at this point, I can't remember, we had a meeting before the meeting, talking about our priorities, what we thought as a city council, which should be the priorities. And I thought at that point, we had kind of discussed what we're talking about right now.
Yeah.
I thought we talked about pretty unanimously that the trees come down, that we put some type of light poles up with greenery on them, with water going up to them. I think that's what was discussed 6 weeks ago, and here we are again talking about it. I think we need to move and do something, because we've had money and we've put it into parks and we put it into walkways. We need to put it down Main Street.
So, Mark, we've got that RDA money, and that's earmarked for doing something about Main Street. And if I remember right, is it about 800,000?
Yeah.
I thought it was 1.2 million at one point.
Well, it's so there's money set aside right now in the budget for the Midland Square improvements, and that took a match of some of the money that was granted to us. We had to do a 30% match, and so if you add up the 800 that remains plus the money that's in this match grant, then you get up there to closer to $1 million.
It was like 280,000 that we had to
I thought
come
it
up
was
with that
180.
170.
It was
Yeah,
180.
170 something.
Yeah, 180, right around 180.
out of the CD money, and so that, what's left is that 800,000 or around 900,000 is what I'm guessing.
Yeah, I have it in my office if you wanted me to grab it. I don't remember the exact dollar figure, but
But I think it would be cool to go out and get someone to bid out. Well, number one, we need to decide if we're going to do facades, what is the theme? What's it going to look like? And then go bid out and find out. Economies of scale would say if we could have one person come in and do a lot of the work and bid it out, we could get it done at a lot less money.
Would we,
We'd have to talk about
Yeah,
who's
let-
paying for it and
Yeah,
all that.
let me insert right there. That's what stopped us before from acting on this, because we got into, if we were gonna help them with facade money, we wanted to know what the theme was, and that killed it. I think they need to come to us and say, this is
the
what we'd
owners?
like to do, and us not say, well, we want you to make it look like the 50s or 60s, and that killed it before. It just died right at that point, and we stopped. But I agree, I think the facade thing is, I think we need to do some research, but I think there's some tax incentives out there for facades.
And there's also a thing called a special, I want to call it a special economic district. Economic may be the wrong word, but it's a district that can be created that
they're SIDs, aren't they?
they're like a PID.
Oh, it's a SID, I think.
Okay, kind of like what River's Edge was going to do, where the store owners, if they decide they want to participate in this, we can just allocate a certain amount of property tax extra. Or it's not property tax, but a tax extra per year to pay for whatever their portion of that upgrade may be, and we can expand that over whatever period of time we want.
So they pay it back, but you get a tax
Right.
rate for doing it.
Well, and through their taxes or whatnot. Yeah, you're right. They would get a tax break.
Yeah.
And so, I think as a store owner, to be able to come in and have my facade upgraded and pay a little bit each month or so much a year would be a little easier to swallow, than
Part of
to
that,
come up with all that.
SID would be perhaps, this is sort of Brett's idea, but it could be, there could be a certain amount charged, and then maybe we hire somebody that can keep the snow off of Main Street, keep the snow off the road, the sidewalks. And maybe one of the issues I saw when we were last winter was the ricks of snow that were piled up, and made it hard for people to get across to go to the stores. If we can kind of keep that cleaned up, and there was maybe a fund that would be there to remove that snow, making it easier for I think that would be a real plus.
Well, now PID, I believe, is homeowners have this association and they vote and they make all the decisions, right? So this would be something that the owners of Main Street would do, right? They'd go in and they decide, do we want someone that comes through and washes our windows, goes through and sweeps the walks and, you know, what is it they want to accomplish? And they can decide that. But the point is it would be a lot less expensive to hire one person to go through and clean that up than hiring 30 people to go through and do it. So I think we just want to try to help out our vendors downtown as much as we can to be successful.
And as we went around and talked to these people and brought this idea up, it was received pretty well. So, Blair, what do you think?
I agree with the tree. I think we need the room. If you're gonna walk up and down we made the sidewalks small with the trees. And they were good, but now I think they're busting the cement and
Yeah.
they have a trouble with all that. But I like the idea of the water, but I don't know how much money, because you'd have to about pour all new sidewalks.
Yeah.
You'd have to run the water, but I think that'd make that better with some nice,
Maybe this could be one of those things that you start with,
Couple of blocks at a time or
a couple
something.
of blocks, yeah. Maybe, and then go that way with it and, yeah. Now, I know we've talked about this before, but we didn't have this committee before, so this is sort of a rehash for me. I'm sorry, but I think we're getting new information too. So Jeff, what do you think?
I definitely support the idea of enhancing downtown appearance as well as otherwise. I would also encourage us to look at our own city ordinances, and in our ordinances, there is the creation of an advisory group for Main Street. It is section part 3 -970, and it spells it all out.
Yeah, we're aware of that.
And I'd encourage the use of it. And right in there, when they talk about membership in addition to others, business owners in Tremont City, property owners along Main Street, and the list is significant. But I would encourage that.
Yep. You have anything else, Jeff?
Now, right.
Wes, what do you think?
I'm on board with everybody else. I'm one to get rid of the trees. I see them tearing down or tearing into facades, and when they was first here, they was nice, but they've outgrown their area.
Well, we did see, and I know you guys know all about this, but we did see the, where the cement was broken and becomes a trip hazard, and
Right.
so and we're starting to see that now.
But I think it's gonna cost a lot more than what we think, but if we do, I like the idea of the light poles with hanging baskets and nobody has to water and them kind of things.
It feels like where we're not in sync right now is our priorities. It feels like, you know, number one, who's going to decide what our priorities are? Okay. And then once we have those priorities set, then it's going to be easy to go through and say, all right, let's start getting some bids on these things and find out how much it's going to cost. Then we can start figuring out where to go. But I think we're having a hard time sitting down and coming up with, here's our priorities for Main Street.
I think it just always comes back to that. You know, we think if we had unlimited funds, it'd be.
True, but let's say our priorities are the sidewalks. Then we start there and we finish it. And then we go on to the next priority and the next priority, you know, and like Lyle said, at least let's get moving. Let's get doing
I
something.
couldn't agree more.
Because I think we need to show the citizens that we're doing something with their money.
Yes. Okay. Very good. Now,
I just got one thing to add, you get the citizen group.
yes,
Get all that, but then they gotta know there's a budget. And it's like you're building a new house and somebody's come to tell you all this, well, I don't have that in my budget. So they need to know that there's only so much that we're gonna be able to do, so pick the priorities and not just a open checkbook thing.
And the strategy has to be, the funding has to be part of that strategy. It has to be, and we have to know how we're gonna fund it before we finalize it. So,
yep,
and it may take a sidewalk project may take 3 or 4 years of funding revenues to do
Oh,
it. I
that's-
don't know, but right now we have no
It
clue.
just keeps going up though. Cement's
Yeah.
$280 a yard now, and but you got to get it out and you got to get it back. You got to get your water, your
You gotta
power
get
into
everything
there.
in before, the power, the
Yep.
poles and all that before the
Yeah.
sidewalk can go
Yeah.
in.
Water,
Yeah, all that.
all that's gotta go in.
I guess you could start with something. I don't know.
Mayor, can I?
Sure.
Lindsay, if you go to page 17. So the mayor was talking about how we've had some community input on this. We had a couple of open house meetings, kind of like you saw in the picture, but then this is the results to a survey that was provided.
Up here.
Yeah, that one, parking. So this is question number 2, things people would like to change. And I know it's kind of small, but there are 2 columns, the one in the middle and the one on the right. There's 5 different items that people would like to change. And this goes right along with what Brett was saying. What are our priorities? Because we've heard from the public, and I think the council, everything that you said falls in one of these 5 priorities. The first one is building and facade revitalization. The second one is parking access and visibility. The third one is pedestrian and bicycle safety and amenities. And if you read kind of the second to last quote on that, how horrible are the sidewalks are, they need to be fixed and even, that's kind of what we talked. The fourth one is vacancies and underutilized properties, so vacant buildings and that. And the fifth one is things that add vibrancy. So I believe those could be our the list of priorities. If the council was, took into account funding and how much it cost, what's the low-hanging fruit, what do we want to work on? Because we can't work on all 5 of these. They can be intertwined to an extent, but if, in my mind, the Midland Square project was a little bit to things to add vibrancy. The last quote on that one, Midland Square needs to be improved with amenities that allow programming and activities. So that's what we kind of wrote the grant for. And now we have funding. Right now, the way that the grant's written, it's the funding for Main Street improvements. The grant committee has said we could pivot off of that and do anything that adds economic value in our downtown, or in our city, really. But we're talking about downtown here in this meeting. So if that's not the priority, what is the priority here? And we have an opportunity to fund half of a project with the state's money that they're going to give to either us or to somebody else. And yeah, we have to do a match portion of it, but we can't work on all. I mean, we've got a staff that is, could get burned out if they're trying to work on all 5 of these at the exact same time. But we can work on one of them at a time. We can pick some low-hanging fruit, and we have an opportunity right now to move forward with some of the funding provided, and we can go after different grants possibly, but
We got to identify what it is we want,
Mm-hmm.
and then we got to jump in and say, okay, this is the thing we're going to work on.
yeah, and that doesn't mean that parking isn't a high priority, and we won't work on that, but we need to work on something. We need a goal to fix
I think
something.
that's what everyone here is saying. So I think we're all on the same page. I really
Yeah,
do.
and
So
So you're saying that the 400,000 that we got for
Mm-hmm.
Midland Square, if we do cut down a couple of trees, mow the lawn and use the rest of the money on Main Street, we can.
Well, possibly, yeah. We would have to write a proposal,
And then-
A new scope.
amendment to the grant and a new scope, a new proposal, and they would have to accept that.
and it has to show economic development. And so, I don't know if cutting down trees and putting down sidewalks would show the economic
you're
development
exactly
as much
right.
as a facade grant or something that pulls businesses into town. And so
We're going to be really careful with, the way we, our scope of work. They want to see that it is something that is going to have an economic value. Yeah. So we got to be very careful with that.
So who decides this priority list?
The people
And-
who
and
decide the funding.
Maybe we do, but can we take some time and find out? I think these are all spot on. Okay, and I agree with every one of these. I think that they're our future of where we need to go with Main Street. So, it would be nice, because there's been so much time between this was done and when we had the public, it'd be nice to get the input from the public of what they think. And not only that, but the owners downtown, what they think about what would help generate more business for them.
Make a list of all the ideas, and then we prioritize. After we find out how much it's gonna cost, then we can prioritize.
Very good. I think with this, we've got enough that we can go to this Main Street Committee now and sort of let them go to work and come up with some ideas. They won't know budgets and they won't know all of that really, I think, at this point, but they will have an idea of where maybe they feel like they need to go. And then what we'll do is we can come back and report back to the council as this thing is moving along and get direction from the council so that we're make sure that's going right. And then when we're ready to go forward, we can have a public town hall sort of a thing and get comment from the public.
You said this was done in 2018?
2020 is the date on it, but.
That was the day it was adopted, but I think they were going through all the
Survey stuff was
process.
done, earlier than that.
It took a little while to get through it all because of staff and
And we had
just
all
saying-
kinds of people that come in and gave us input.
The problem with it, we've just been frustrations is all right, said right on there. So it's like, we didn't just come up with that
It was always, sort of the
It says it right there.
money was always sort of the issue. And so I feel like we've got, we got some money to go forward with this. So, the grant and the brain freeze and the
RDA.
RDA money. Yeah. All right. Well, that's good. Jeff, why don't we turn the time over to you and share with what you got there.
Thank you. Would you pull up those slides? There we go. So the issue, one of the things that has been stated here and that I hear repeatedly is we don't have the restaurants that we need downtown, places that will draw folks downtown. And part of the impediment to that is not having a place that offers beer or liquor, that I've heard some people say. And so that's become an issue for them, and I've met with many people in different meetings to ask, and the vast majority have been either supportive or okay with it. A very small number have not wanted to see that happen for whatever reasons, but the vast majority wanted it. And then in meeting with the owners of El Cholito Restaurant, talking to them, heard that they would do much better business-wise if they were able to offer beer, that they've had customers come in, including from out of town, who come in the restaurant. Once they find out they can't get a beer, they turn around and walk out. They don't stay there to get a meal. So there was a desire there. I've also spoken to Carla at the Grill, the owner, and to Don Anderson at the Western to see if they had any concerns if beer was offered at El Cholito's, and no, they don't have any issue. They were fine with it. And so trying to move, please,
Don't they offer beer out there?
yes,
Okay, thanks.
at the Grill.
Yeah, thank you.
And I can give you a long story of what Carla had to share with me. They don't imbibe, but they offer it. They do quite well with sales. It's all regulated heavily. So then I looked at the legal parameters of it, is what would be the key issue here, and it is our definition of the term public park. The state has proximity laws. Go ahead and go to the next one. We'll get to the language later on. And so I'm going to take you quickly through the code. So the Alcoholic Beverage Control Act, and I've been in touch with DABS, the state agency dealing with all this, and you see the chapters that are the key issue. Next one. And so we get down, first of all, to the miscellaneous provisions for alcoholic beverage control. Keep going. And then definitions. Move on down till you see a hash mark there. and just keep on going right there. So the proximity laws for the state pertain to a community location, and these are the locations that are involved in a community location: public or private school, a church, a public library, public playground, or a public park. But the state chose not to define those terms. Rather, they leave it up to the communities to define those terms, and we have in fact defined public park. And right now, Midland Square would be included as a public park. Keep going. We also have a church downtown. And so then what is a restaurant? And there is a beer-only restaurant license. And so very specialized license and different proximity than other ones. So if you're talking other forms of alcohol, it's 600 feet, scroll on down. But when you get to a beer-only, 300 feet by walking or 200-foot straight line shot. And I've done unofficial measurements from the church to El Cholitos, and it is over the 200 feet, so not a problem there. It would be far enough away from the downtown church to not be an issue. And if we change the definition of public park and it does not include Midland Square, then we don't have the conflict with a public park being too close.
What do they call that? Is it a plaza?
What would we call
What
it?
do you call Midland Square if it's not a park?
Gathering,
It becomes a
What I
plaza?
proposed was a term that we already use here in the city, right here, in one of the handouts we had gotten from Zach at a prior meeting, a community gathering area. So since we already have the use of the term, I thought I'm not going to try and dream up another one. Let's just use what we have. Keep going. Till you see the hash marks. So beer-only restaurant license, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this so we can keep moving. All these different sections are involved, but they get quite specific. Keep going down. For a beer-only restaurant, they shall maintain at least 70% of the restaurant's gross revenues from the sale of food, which does not include a service charge. So they couldn't have more than 30% of sales for beer. And that's the case with the grill, except in fact, they only get 3% of their revenues from beer. Still pretty good, $6,000 to $7,000 profit per month. But that's one restriction on a beer-only license. Keep going. And then licensing requirements, keep going down till you see the hash marks there. This talks about where they can sell it. You can't take it off the premises. So it's not like you go there, buy a drink, and then go outside. You have to drink it in the premises there. And the entity, the restaurant, has to keep track of how much they sell to the folks. So they're tracking the consumption, trying to avoid somebody getting drunk. Controlling that. Keep going down.
they're eating anyway, so.
Right, and thank you, you already got there. So go down to number 6 there, and when you see it, you actually have to buy food with your beer. You can't go into an establishment with a beer-only restaurant license, and you can't just get the beer. You have to have food with it. So again, reducing the probability of somebody getting intoxicated by having that. So there are a lot of restrictions on this type of license. Keep going down.
How close is the Western? It's only, it's not,
I haven't measured it, but they're grandfathered from the state
Oh.
proximity
That's
laws.
what I was gonna say, Jeff. If a church wanted to move into the one that they're rebuilding, and we already had a beer license, they can't okay.
Grandfather
I was pretty
clause,
sure, but
grandfather clause, so that they could continue to sell the beer. I'm not going to go through a lot more details here for the sake of time. Keep scrolling down. This is the city definition of public park now. Keep going down until you see the hash marks again. Right, no, not a hash mark, sorry, it's right there. So you see it right now as a parcel of land for either active or passive recreation or leisure, playground, swimming pool, golf course, or athletic field, which is under the control of a government entity, basically. And so when you add that active and passive and everything else, to me, it seems pretty clear that right now Midland Square, by our definition, is considered a public park. Thus, I offered the changed language. Can you go back to the first page now? Right there. So we've got it there, and I did it in legislative language, so you see some strikeouts and some underlines, which are the new things. So a parcel of land for active recreation, inclusive of one or more of the following: playground, swimming pool, golf course, tennis or pickleball court, basketball court, state park, or athletic field, which is under the control of entity. Public park does not include a community gathering area, to make it abundantly clear that there's no crossover. And then adding a new definition for community gathering area, parcel of land for leisure or other public gatherings which is under the control operation government entity and does not include a public park or a public playground. So making it abundantly clear that there would be no debate as to whether there was overlap between the different sites, that they are very distinct in the category that they would fall within. And so this is a proposal I'm putting forth to the council to consider. If we were to take action on this and adopt this change, then El Cholitos could go ahead and apply for a permit to be able to become a beer-only facility. And in talking to the state, they don't have an issue with it. They really leave it up to the locals, and I can read the emails that I've gotten from them, but that's what they said. Did they want to weigh in on the definition? Absolutely not. That's your business. We just need to know that you're okay with it, with the permit that would come forward, or the application for a permit, and then it could move forward and get cleared. And I don't know if you want to give Mr. Magro the opportunity to speak.
We had, would you like to share anything with us?
I think he pretty much.
Pretty well.
And we
All right.
talked to him as well. when
Yeah,
were
we
there.
had that, we had the chance to talk to him.
Like that,
He and his wife.
you know, if it was like an issue, we have the next door building, like a dining only for family, and then the main entrance for beer, which is
Yeah,
further away from the park.
okay. All right, well,
We can, work, if we operate on that.
why don't you come up? Sometimes people can't hear, the recorders won't be able to they won't be able to. Just, why don't you give us your name and then,
I'm David Madrigal, and I own the Chilito restaurant. And Mr. Jeff and I have been talking about, trying to get a beer license, because there's been a lot of requests for just beer. And as I spoke to Mr. Lau when he came over, I told him we have the next door building empty so we can accommodate people that don't want to be around beer, and then use the main entrance for people that would like to have a beer, and then we can work something on the back to make some more parking for people. We have like maybe enough room for 10 parking stalls on the back. If we can get access to the other building, will
help.
help.
Okay, thank you. We appreciate you coming tonight.
Oh, no, thank you.
Let me note, this is during their dinner time at the restaurant.
Oh,
so-
well, we
and-
better-
And he's a chef, so.
Okay, we better let you go then.
Got my wife trained.
Oh, okay, all right.
Mayor, before you move on, can I bring up a little point? Something that causes me alarm on this whole thing is the church clause in there. It seems if someone wanted to come in and stop someone from putting in a beer license, they just rent the building next door and turn it into a church and it's done. And to me, that doesn't seem right. Is there anything in any code that we can put in that states that Main Street, and we have a border or whatnot, even if a church comes in there, they don't fall into that stipulation? I don't know. But, as we move forward with this, we might want to get more restaurants to move into town. And I really don't want to have to go through this every time. Is there some way we can all-inclusive this thing so that all of the restaurants coming in can be taken care of?
Jeff's done more research than me, but as I understand it, that's the state code, and
It's a state code. I don't know that we could do what we're doing at this site with a church.
yeah.
But if we have, say we had 3 beer places down Main Street, then the church, they'd have to find somewhere else because they're first, correct?
If
They
the
could-
bar is, or the restaurant, the beer-only
Well,
license.
Western's grandfathered in, so.
Right,
Yeah.
The church would still be able to go there, but the beer license would remain in effect.
Right.
So if they left,
Right.
then somebody else couldn't come in and replace them.
Okay,
I like what you're doing. That last sentence, a public park does not include a community gathering area. That is not registering.
Why would I do that?
Yeah.
When I've written state and federal legislation, you kind of cover all the bases so that there's no confusion of, well, if we didn't have that sentence in there and they look at public park, well, somebody might go, well, that sounds like Midland Square. This way, it makes it abundantly clear that it specifically does not include that other
Isn't
site.
that what it's going, isn't that the purpose of it, is to be a community gathering?
These would be two
Like
different,
Midland Square would become a community gathering
Not a
area.
park.
It would not be a.
Oh,
public
okay,
park.
okay, I get your, okay, I get it.
these would be two different definitions.
As long as we
in our
don't put in
ordinance.
a baseball field or
Okay,
playground
My
or something
mind
else.
around that, thinking,
yeah, that clarified it in my mind too.
Right,
Makes-
legal
okay,
terms,
Midland
so,
Square be a
right.
gathering area, not a park.
okay. Okay, thank you.
Very good, okay, well,
What do we need to do to finalize it?
Well, it would have to go to business for a vote,
Let's do it.
Yeah,
changing the ordinance.
yeah, we could draft up the ordinance with these changes in the
so
ordinance.
this will be, the next time we meet will be May 2nd. And then we can put that on the agenda.
May
And
7th,
once it's voted on, then we can move forward. And,
7th. May 7th.
Okay, and by all means, have the attorney review it. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
I'm used to
Absolutely.
other state legislation and federal, and perhaps there's some nuance here that I'm not familiar with that
Will do.
they could help us with.
okay, we'll do it. We're good with that?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, everybody's good with that? Okay, then. Sounds like a good
Good job,
deal.
Jeff.
Yeah, thank you for all that research and everything. We appreciate that. Thank you.
You.
Okay, as we go through the agenda,
Can I ask a clarifying question, Mayor? So your committee, are you guys working on Main Street as a whole then, or are you just working on Midland Square? I'm still confused on that.
you know, I think that we're going to, the whole idea is to sort of look at the whole broad thing, but the goal is to come up with some plans. And I imagine that Midland Square will be a big part of that because we have the funding. That's where the funding lies right now, at least as it's currently designed or written.
But if we pivot, we're okay to.
Well,
move
then
away
that,
from
we
that.
just need to understand, you know, but I think with what we've been able to, I tried to keep pretty good notes, and with what we've kind of talked about, I think we can go to work now. I really feel good about, I think the committee is going to be, I think we're going to be able to be very objective in, you know, what's going to be best for the downtown area. But keeping in mind that, you know, we're not going to be able to do it all at once. We're going to have to sort of pick and choose. And I think that Midland Square will be something we'll at least talk about, and then we'll see where it goes from there. Okay. Let's see.
Sure.
All right. Since I kind of got sidetracked a little bit here, let me go back to her. Okay. Let's see, council, are there, I'll go through and we'll talk about the guests and we'll have an opening ceremony. I'll give the welcome opening prayer by Lyle Vance, Councilman Vance, and then I'm going to invite a student to lead us in the pledge once again. Are there any conflicts of interest that we need to concern ourselves with the agenda tonight as it's stated? Okay, good. Oh, brother. Okay. Then we're going to, I had the opportunity, the minutes. Are there any concerns with the minutes, council?
I'm going to move for one amendment.
All right. And we'll. turn
Hell, I
to-
looked, try to get you before you did. I couldn't find anything.
All right, we'll turn the time over to you for that amendment. The years of service, Catherine Bodrero, 5 years, and Nalin Soph, is that how you pronounce it? Firefighter for 5 years. And then we had the opportunity of going down, I had the opportunity of going down to St. George and past Natalie on the way home. As I was going down there, she was coming home because her daughter had a appendicitis attack. And so she came back to be with her. So we're going to present her, this is quite a significant thing, down at their convention in St. George. She was Officer of the Year for the smaller, some of the smaller organizations, and which is a really quite a significant award. And we're going to
Do
present.
that or with Dustin?
Dustin is going to do that. Yeah, he'll present the award. Then we'll have the citizenship awards from the schools. Arbor Day proclamation, we'll go through that. We have to read that proclamation every year. Let's see. Then on the ordinance for the single-family overlay zone, I believe, Mark, you were going to,
So we're
or
gonna,
is that going to be Jeff?
yeah, we're gonna have Jeff.
Jeff will be
um,
here, okay.
Jeff Seedall. He's our new city planner. He's been on the planning commission, and he has been working on this a little bit with both the planning commission and as staff. So
And which one you talking about? Number 11?
11A.
11A.
Yep.
So we'll
So
take
just
time.
a quick overview of it. It's Envision Estates is just to the east of Visionary Homes. It's some open ground right now. And what they kind of want to do is a transitional overlay. So we have, if you go from the west to the east in Visionary, it's townhomes to kind of smaller lot homes to a little bit bigger lot homes. And then this would be a community of like cottage style homes, so smaller lot but single family homes. And then it would move towards the railroad tracks, which are zoned for density for townhomes. So it just kind of is a transition zone that we created here.
I hate them little lots for me, so somebody's gotta, we've had people come here all the time and complain about everybody parking on the street, and we put a place where it's 20 feet setback. You can't even put a truck there and you're in the sidewalk. And that's just me, I'm just new to the thing, but,
Well, and ask Jeff those kind of questions, okay, by all means.
I mean, I don't know, I'm not a big, but who saves the money? Does the person that buys the house save the money, or the visionary just get to sell more lots? That's a question.
Their price range is under 400,000 is where they're shooting, and so that really helps out the public.
And that's a thing we have to do, I know that.
But plus, they've done a really neat strategy on the sides of the houses, which I loved, and I think that it's something we ought to adapt on all of our developments in the future, and we'll let him explain that as well.
But 5 feet, 10 feet apart on the one side?
No, this is more the facades.
Oh,
They've got some really
Oh,
cool
the
language
house?
on- yeah, on the house.
I seen that, yeah.
Did you see that in the minutes?
Yeah.
Showing the different variations of
I'm
putting it
just-
down.
I know them other lots are that size too, in Visionary.
What are the setbacks at the townhomes down by the South State Center?
I'd have to look. I'm not sure.
I bet they're not much more than that, and I know that.
No, them long bed pickups are out in, if the
I mean,
garage is
how come
closed,
my
they're over the
lot's 30
sidewalk.
feet?
Yours is 30?
Isn't ours 30? 30,
Foot setback, yeah.
I don't know, that's just but I know, I mean, I just been reading a lot and I seen the thing on the, like the governor, I mean, there's a lot, they gotta get some houses that people can, especially young people can afford, so,
Affordable housing.
yeah.
So are we to discuss this issue now or wait till we're in the council meeting?
We probably we'll wait till we're in the council meeting. I think, yeah, let's try to get through the rest of rest of the agenda here. Okay, discussion and consideration of adopting resolution number 24-21, approving a joint agreement between Tremonton City and Box Elder County School District for the use of rental facilities. And this one's going to be you, Mark.
Yeah. So, the city recreation program relies heavily on the school district, and we've tried to keep a really strong working relationship with them. Periodically, we'll renew this agreement with the school district, and it's been 21 years since they have increased any hourly rate for us. And so the biggest change is our rate goes from $10 an hour to $20 an hour. We'll adjust user fees for the recreation programs to adjust for that extra use. And this is just indoor facilities. But another thing that we cleaned up is the ability for the city to use their outdoor facilities at no charge. And then they use our outdoor facilities at no charge. Kind of cleaned up the language that allows the city with our trained supervisors and our trained staff to be there on site and not have to make a school district employee come on site and pay for that school district employee on top of the city staff. So Zach and the school district have worked together, and they're all amenable to all the terms and conditions on it. And in fact, the school district's already signed it. This is just so the council's aware of the parameters and give authorization to the mayor to sign. So
Cheap to me.
it is, yeah. You go to, we talked to other counties, and they have a higher rate, plus they have to pay for custodians, and it gets pretty pricey on their part, so.
Any questions on that, item number B? Discussion and consideration of adopting resolution number 24-22, appointing Caden Grover to serve on the Tremonton City Planning Commission and reaffirming reaffirming and appointing existing planning commission members. And that'll be you, Brett.
I'd like Jeff to run with that.
Okay.
that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. We can do that. Okay.
The new planner.
5, Mayor, before.
I haven't even met him.
What's
I
that?
didn't even know he-
I'm going to give you 5. Yep, we're good to go now. We'll just go do the consent agenda and walk through. Yeah, we're good to go.
Brings you up to your attention, doesn't it? Every time they refer to the mayor as Lyle,
Yeah, you've been dealing with that for
It's 7 o'clock, and I'm going to call this city council meeting to order. I'd like to welcome everybody here with us this evening. I'm especially grateful for our young people that are here with us. We've got some awards we're going to share with you, and maybe a little gift that we're going to give you for all the great work that you've been doing in your schools, for being such good citizens and being courteous to your schoolmates and to your teachers and everything else. We really appreciate that a lot. So we're really grateful for you to be here. We welcome all the rest of you here with us this evening as well. I've asked Councilmember Lyle Vance if he'll open with a word of prayer. Lyle?
Our Father in heaven, we come before thee at this time. We're thankful to meet in this capacity at this public city meeting. We're grateful that we can meet in this capacity, be able to have the freedom to choose what it is we will do to help better our community. We're grateful to live amongst the people that live here and are grateful for the many blessings that was bestowed upon us. This time we ask a special blessing that we might be able to remain civil, that we might be able to be kind and be able to communicate with each other, that ideas might be passed, again, that the community might be bettered. We're grateful unto thee for all the many blessings, and we're grateful for the youth that are here tonight. We're grateful that for their parents and for the community and their support and all the good things that happen in our schools. Please bless them and their efforts. We're grateful unto thee and ask these things in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Lyle. Councilman Vance. Our pledge, we got a special treat for us this evening. Katie is going to come up with her dad, and she's going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. So I'm going to turn the time over to you now, Katie. Yeah, right there will be just great. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Katie. Thanks. That was a pretty brave thing to do, to stand up in front of all these people. I'd just like to introduce our guests, our council and our those that kind of make the city run. Over to my left over here, we have Mark Christensen, our city manager, Councilmember Jeff Holt, up here on the dais, Councilmember Blair Westergaard, Councilmember Lyle Vance, myself, Lyle Holmgreen, I'm the mayor, Councilmember Brett Rohde, and Councilmember Wes Eastep. Then we have over here, we've got our recorder, Lindsay Nessen. I think we have excused Paul for this evening, as he is, Paul Fulgham, our Public Works Director. He is out of town. Dustin Cordova, our Police Chief, we've got a special thing tonight we're going to be doing. He's going to present that award. Our Fire Chief, Brady Hanson, and Sarah Mormon, our Main Street Manager. And again, we want to welcome all of you young students. We really appreciate you being here. And do we have any of our principals here tonight? I'm not sure if they were, kind of the week of spring break, so people are kind of going this way and that way. But our principals are Dave Cedarholm with North Park. McKinley is Jacob Balls, and Alice C. Harris, Jeremy Webb. So those are our principals, and anyway. With that, let's see, council, do we have any declarations of conflict of interest tonight? Council? No. Approval of the agenda.
I'll make a motion, we approve the agenda.
I'll second it.
Motion by Wes Eastep and second by Brett. All in favor?
Aye.
Approval of the minutes for March 19th, 2024.
Mayor, I'm proposing one amendment on page 11 of the minutes. There, the eighth line from the bottom where it mentions my name, Councilmember Holt, and there are two sentences there. And I am moving to delete those sentences and otherwise moving to approve the minutes.
Council? Are we okay with that? All right, done and done.
And I've made the motion.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Councilman Rhodey. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Years of Service Awards. Catherine Bodrero, she's the administrative assistant with the Senior Center. Is she here tonight? Okay.
Have not seen her.
Okay. We have a little, a recognition, a little gift for them, a little stipend. Dallin Soph, are you here?
I haven't seen him.
Okay, so we'll make sure they get those. Let's see, we have a presentation, Natalie Jorgensen, I think we passed each other on the freeway that day. She was coming home because her child had appendicitis attack, and so she had to rush home to be with her child. And I was heading down to watch her receive this award. But so what we're going to do is we're going to officially we're going to have Chief Cordova make the official presentation to Natalie at this time. Officer Jorgensen.
Check. All right, we're good. All right, so I'm super excited about this. Natalie is amazing, and her family's here tonight to support her. We have many of our police officers here as well. I just want to start by, thanking the mayor for driving down, showing your support. We had the best intentions. It's a huge honor. I think it's historical for our city, for one of our officers to get this award. So I'm just going to read you folks the nomination for Officer of the Year, and this is through the Utah Chief of Police Association. I am pleased to announce Sergeant Jorgensen has been selected as Officer of the Year. Sergeant Jorgensen has consistently gone above and beyond the call of duty. Her proactive approach to community policing has strengthened the bond between law enforcement and residents, fostering a sense of trust and collaboration. Sergeant Jorgensen has taken the initiative to engage with community members in the roles of police officer, detective, SWAT operator, canine handler, and now sergeant. Her calm and respectful demeanor has allowed her to excel in every assignment she has held within our office. In addition to her community-focused efforts, Sergeant Jorgensen has shown outstanding performance in criminal investigations. Her meticulous attention to detail and tenacity in solving cases has contributed significantly to the reduction of crime in our area. In the words of Box Elder County Attorney's Office, I've always been impressed with her attention to detail and unrelenting work ethic. Sergeant Jorgensen consistently demonstrates high skill, resourcefulness, and dedication to ensure justice is served. As an example, Sergeant Jorgensen was paramount to the apprehension of Box Elder's most wanted fugitive. This suspect led police on a chase from Brigham to Tremont. Sergeant Jorgensen bravely led this pursuit, which culminated in the safe apprehension of this dangerous suspect. Sergeant Jorgensen is more than an exceptional officer. She is a selfless leader. She has been a reliable and supportive team member, aiding colleagues and willing to share her knowledge and expertise. Her positive attitude and strong work ethic serve as an inspiration to others within the department. Sergeant Jorgensen has made history in both Box Elder County and Tremont. Currently, she is the first female officer to be a canine handler in our department, and she is the first female officer to serve on the Box Elder County SWAT team. Sergeant Jorgensen embodies the values and principles that we hold dear in our law enforcement agency. Her commitment to upholding the law, protecting the community, and fostering positive relationships makes her stand out as Officer of the Year. Congrats. I asked her to give a speech, she wasn't having it, so. Thank you, Council.
Thank you, Chief and Officer Jorgensen. Congratulations. It's quite an honor. Next, we have our Citizenship Awards. As soon as I get my, have you got them? No, I've got them right here. Sorry. What we're going to do is we're going to award our youth. And so we'll have you come up one at a time, and when I have you come up, if you'll just be sure to, don't go sit back down. We want to get a picture of you when we get all done here. So we're looking forward. Here we go.
Did they come up this way? Where'd it come from?
Right here. So the award is a Citizenship Award. It is given to each of the students for their ability to show respect, responsibility, safety in their schools and citizenship in their schools. So we really appreciate that. First, we'll have Rockwell Miller. I'm a little worried a lot of them are on the spring break. Okay, Paxton Montgomery. There we go, Paxton. Here you go, and then I'll just have you come around here. Tyson Lamont. Mackenzie Brantner. Was she homesick? Oh, okay, well, can we give this to you and make sure she gets it? Karina Mitchell. We'll have you come right around here. Katie Ross. Thank you. Clara Miller. Devin Dixon. Sophia Mitchell. Cambry Kofed. Kinley Hancock. Lucy Feichner. I pronounced that right? Feichner. Okay. Make sure he gets it. Bridget Perez. William Robinson. And Maisie Williams. And we'll take a real brief pictures and then we'll excuse you. Everybody.
Okay, did we miss anyone?
Nice. Stand behind you there.
Any students' names we didn't call?
Come on up.
We'll give you plenty of time for
Oh, yeah, you
pictures.
have.
Thanks, you guys.
Principals will be here.
Better turnout than what I thought for spring break.
Each April, we have the opportunity of, I don't know if you noticed the signs, or some of the signs around town says Tree City USA. We've been a supporter of the Arbor Day Foundation for many years now. And each year, we have a proclamation that we read, share with you, and I'll just read that really quick. I'll try to, and then council, if you'll give me the permission to go ahead and sign it, we'll get it done. Whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture a special day to be set aside for the planting of trees, and whereas this holiday called Arbor Day was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska, and whereas Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world, and whereas trees can reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cut heating and cooling costs, moderate temperature and clean the air, produce oxygen and provide habitat for wildlife, and whereas trees are a renewable resource, giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. And whereas trees in our city increase the property values, enhance the economic vitality of businesses, and beautify our community. And whereas trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. Now therefore, I, Lyle Holmgren, Mayor of Tremont, Utah, do hereby proclaim April 26, 2024 as Arbor Day in the city of Tremont, and I urge all citizens to support efforts to protect our trees and woodlands, to support our city's urban forestry program. And further, I urge all citizens to plant trees and gladden their hearts and promote the well-being and present and future generations, stated this second day of April 2024. Council?
I make a motion we adopt this resolution,
Second?
The
this
motion,
proclamation.
motion by Brett to accept the proclamation, and seconded by Jeff. All in favor?
Aye.
Public comments. This is your opportunity to address the city council regarding your concerns or ideas. We emphasize that we are going to keep the comments to under 3 minutes. The time is now yours for public comments. All right, public comment period is closed. New council business, discussion and consideration of adopting ordinance number 24-05, establishing a new zoning district entitled the Single Family Residential Transition Overlay Zone, and amending the Tremont City zoning for parcel number 05-043-0049 and 05-043-0092, totaling approximately 36.41 acres, and with an underlying zone of R110 to include single-family residential transition overlay zone. And I believe, Jeff, you're going to,
Yes.
am I correct? You're going to fill us in on this?
Yes, so the Planning Commission, along with Sam Taylor and myself, have been working on creating a transition overlay zone that accomplishes one of two things. The first of which is create affordable housing through 4,000 to 5,000 square foot lots that the developers is we implement this if they wish to, will overwrite the current zoning code. And this is through development agreements and through working with the city leadership and the DRC, which is actually where this idea started. We hope this will help continue pushing Tremont to have affordable housing in the future. The second item that it does is it allows a flexible tool that makes so that we don't have to go through and update a lot of city ordinances, change the current zoning map, and kind of delay the demand that this needs right now, as we have developers, we're calling the city, talking about various parcels surrounding the city.
Council, do you have any questions for Jeff? Yeah.
Jeff,
Yeah.
I'm Jeff.
Hi, Jeff.
Welcome aboard, first of
Thank
all. Glad you're here. I'm really glad to hear about affordable housing because that is a huge public demand that I hear everywhere I go. So that's great. Does any of it qualify as moderate income housing or will it?
The struggle right now is the definition for moderate income housing doesn't exceed what the moderate or median average of most single-family houses are on the market. So to answer that, not really, but we're trying to keep them as affordable as possible. So these lots would go somewhere in the prices of what townhomes are right now. The benefit of it being that you're getting a yard and an actual parcel and single-family house instead of more multifamily housing.
Thank you. And again, I'm glad to hear that the state holds us accountable to moderate income housing.
Yes.
That's why I ask. And is there any opportunity to negotiate even a little bit of it to go to moderate income housing, be it with one of the organizations who can support or something?
Yes, so Sam Taylor and Mark and I are working on further overlay zones and possibly a new city zoning code in general to approach this, but this won't be the toolbox. This will make single-family housing more affordable, but I don't think it fits within the requirements of the state's moderate income housing. But we are still working on other tools for the city planning commission and city council to utilize.
And help me understand the difference in the number of homes that can be on this acreage versus what it's been zoned to be.
So I believe right now we were looking at 202 lots on 36 acres, which was where I think it was zoned, was it, Mark, can you look? Was it R110? So we're looking at almost double the amount of
Almost double.
lots of what it would have been.
Okay.
Have they stated what their asking price is going to be to begin with for these homes?
The discussions that we've had with Visionary Homes, although there are other developers interested in the property of Envision Estates, they're hoping their range is going to be 350 to 400,000 a house.
2-bedroom?
Yeah, most of them are looking at 2 bedroom. They've got both single family and 2-story options that do you have layouts, like interior layouts at all?
You know, I don't.
Okay,
Apologize for that.
no worries. So no, I mean, a lot of them look like the smaller single-family houses that were in Archibald Estates towards the end, or smaller than that. So I'm guessing 2 to 3 bedroom, probably bathroom and half or 2, but that's just from like looking at the outside, kind of guessing of what it could fit.
One other question, and I don't know the status here. Have permits already been issued to this piece of land, or this will be new in addition to what's already been issued and permitted for?
No, so this
Elsewhere.
is still, we haven't even gotten to the preliminary plat application stage yet, so we're probably 12 to 18 months away from even the first building permit, because, I mean, utilities would have to, first of all, it has to get fully designed and approved by city before we can start, before they can start digging utilities.
Thank you.
Welcome. Yes, Lyle?
So Jeff, I'm looking at page 43. Lindsay, would you mind flipping to that? So this is just an idea. This is not the plot map of what
No, this is just the closest just a concept right now.
those are 5,000 square foot lots right there.
They're 4,000 to 5,000 square foot lots. So some of them, I'm guessing the The middle green, I apologize for not attaching the legend in this, but those middle greens right there are probably 4,000 minimum. And then some of the lighter green ones are gonna be, probably 5,000 plus, 5 to 6,000 square feet. I mean, those corner lots are probably gonna be good square footage.
So the houses that they're suggesting could fit on those are also right behind it here, Page. Those can fit
Yep.
on those 5,000 square foot lots.
No, I think the next page would be the ones that fit on them. The ones above would be for the lighter green, and those 6 right there would be for the darker green, correct? Yeah.
I'll come up here just in case there's any other.
So the neighbor would be how close? How many feet to the next house?
5 foot setbacks per lot, so 10 feet.
10 feet minimum between.
10 feet between the houses.
You know, we have seen, you know, I know some projects that are built right now in St. George that have 7 feet between them. So 3.5 feet setbacks. It's a little tighter than we would want to go. You'd have to do some additional fire measures on those exterior walls. This wouldn't require that. This is fairly, a 5 foot setback is fairly common now on a single family lot.
So for the record, just real quick, this is Ben Still. He works for Visionary Homes, and so that's he's the one who's been working with the Planning Commission and Sam and
Pleasure to be
Jeff.
here with you, gentlemen. Steel.
With a spare E at the end.
Yeah, I like that Sperry.
Spare E.
Yeah, but I think it was mentioned a 4,000 square foot lot. On this particular conceptual, the smallest lot that we have designed is a 4275. And you'll notice that the width of the products, the cottage plan's 32 feet wide. What we're calling a small single family, a 44 foot wide. The depth of these homes is fairly decent, so that's how you can get a little bit more square footage in those homes without sacrificing.
These are all slab on grade.
They would be. Yeah, we don't anticipate any basements here. You know, it's hit and miss, I know, in this area as far as the
Yeah.
water table. So we're just planning on, from the get-go, a slab on grade. I apologize for my voice. I was at a show last night, did a little too much cheering.
We understand.
Is there any other multi-housing in it, fourplexes or anything like that?
No, this project, we're contemplating just a single-family, standalone, detached design. I know originally the landowners had approached, I think even this body, not just the planning commission, about a townhome product that they wanted to place there. We've come in with this single-family design. I think, you know, a townhome project works here, but you have a lot of townhome projects here in the city. And I think this particular product it's in high demand, and I think once we get started, I think we'll all be surprised at how fast this will move. You know, to make a home affordable, everybody's gonna have to give a little bit, so I appreciate the cooperation that we've had from the planning and the staff, and even your consultant staff members in making this come together. We're very excited about this particular product type. I think it fills what we like to call the missing middle, where you look at your single family plans, you've got an 8,000, I think, on the code, but I don't think anywhere on your map do you show any place to use that 8,000. And then you drop back down to a townhome. And so there's this area in the middle that I think the customers want. You know, I think they'd rather have a smaller yard rather than sharing a wall. And they get a garage and they have a little bit of their own privacy. And so I think this will really make sense.
Two bedroom.
especially in this area. You know, we're able to probably get more than 2 bedrooms on this plan, depending on the product, right? On these, you'll notice that, not on this particular cottage plan, but if you scroll up to the small single family, you should see some single story designs that are gonna be a little bit smaller. And we want that variety within the community as well. We don't wanna just have everything 2-story, and we don't wanna have it clustered where there's a little bit of small family or it's a single story here and everything else is 2-story. We'd like to have that mix. Something else, and I don't know if you've explained this, but the other thing that we've done here is we've varied the frontage setback. So there's a certain percentage of the setbacks that'll have to be a little deeper, 5 foot deeper. And we want those in kind of randomly placed too, but there's a certain percentage of that will be required. And I think that'll change as you ride down the road, you won't see houses all lined up together. There'll be a little bit of variation in that, especially as you add a porch on one and you have 3 that don't have a front porch. There was also a lot of discussion about the materials used on the streetscape. And Sam and Jeff have done a lot of work on. There's been a little bit of negotiating back and forth on making that work. Trying to keep it affordable, but also there's an incentive there to make these look nice too and durable. Yes.
And you may have said it, and I'm not recalling it, but can you give us the approximate square footage for the single-story versus the two-story?
Well, I apologize, I don't have that. I should have been prepared for that information, and I'd be more than happy to get that and to send it to you, Jeff. Is it Jeff or Jeffrey?
Jeff, please.
Just Jeff,
I can be Jeffrey, but I'm gonna feel in trouble.
No.
not city council. Jeff.
No. There we go. We'll throw titles in.
Yeah, if there's a way that I can get that to the whole council, I'd be more than happy to come up with those footages.
You could just get it to Lindsay and then she can get it to
Maybe I
everybody.
can get it for these exact product types that we contemplated when we presented to DRC, that we're planning on putting actually in this project.
Well, I can speak for myself. I'm excited about this product, and I think it's something, like you said, it's the missing middle that I feel like will really benefit our community. So,
Kind of one thing, Mayor, the thing I see in the middle is you'll just have to come either back to 6 North, or you're gonna have to come down 900 West into Visionary, clear back, and then down on, what is that, 820, 850, whatever, to get into there. I know them's the only 2 connector roads, because if I remember right, north of that is, how come we're not going clear to 10th North? Is that where Dr. Kerr's house is?
You guys don't, on the next.
Yeah, we don't control the property between this particular boundary. There is a parcel in between us.
Is there? Okay.
We've tried to line up those stub roads, where they were previously done in some of the previous preliminary plat where they had larger lots. But these stub roads are flexible in their placement. If the city council has desire to move those to one location or the next, or maybe perhaps your public works or some other staff members want to move those are flexible. We can move those to accommodate the future development, both to the east and to the north. We're a little bit locked in on the one that ties into Archibald Estates, and that's just fine. We're
Right.
we're okay with that. And the one to the south is fairly controlled by, the only area that we have there, so. And the basins are placed, I think, on the lowest part of the project.
Jeff,
We'll work through all that kind of stuff during engineering.
what is our ordinance? I mean, how many homes can you have with 2 outlets? I mean, we've ran into trouble with this before in another subdivision where promises were made and the development didn't happen the way it was supposed to. And we were short on exits, and it caused grief.
I thought it was over 30. You have to have 2 exits.
Yeah, I'm thinking 50, but I don't know what it is.
I believe it is 30. I think it's a fire problem,
Yeah.
right? It's a fire and emergency services. And I could be wrong on this, I don't know if it's statewide, but in the Cache Valley where I do most of my work, once you hit that 30 lot mark, you need a back door. And, which this one does provide. In fact, you've got all those little blocks that you can get around to get to one of those accesses or another. So I think we'd be complying with this particular conceptual layout on that.
Plus they have 2 other possible exits when it expands and build into it, which helps.
I'm seeing one other.
One to the north and one to the east.
Is there one to the east? Oh, right there, okay.
Yeah.
For the one on the east, do you have to do any special design work for fire truck turnaround or anything there?
We would, depending on the length. I can't remember the exact length. I think it's 500 feet.
Depends on
Once
it.
you get to a certain depth, you do need either a hammerhead or a cul-de-sac or some kind of a turnaround.
We need them for snow plowing too, but I'm sure Chief Hanson will make sure that.
Yeah,
ladder trucks
Paul will
turn
make sure,
around
Paul will
anywhere
make sure that
he
happens.
needs to.
Mhm. Any stub road like that will it probably won't be able to develop those last 2 lots. Maybe even 4, since they're smaller, because it will demand a turnaround right there.
And one final question, the neighborhood, I'm over there. What kind of notification do we give people within close vicinity of the size of these lots? How do we handle that?
So that notification has happened. It's a planning commission. We did a public notice to go to the planning commission. and then the planning commission has done their recommendation to the city council. So this would be,
So we've already noticed everybody up.
well, it doesn't require mail out the letters for a rezone like this.
I'll tell you, it's gone through word of mouth.
Are you hearing it over there?
Yeah. So, I know like Caden Burrell and a few others are very aware. Dr. Goodwin, with the bishop. I know he's aware, so I'm guessing it's gone through word of mouth pretty decently through that neighborhood.
Yeah.
Through the pulpit, over the pulpit, by the pulpit, it's just,
And forgive me, this is my first experience here in your fair city. I imagine there's some other public notices as we do a preliminary plat and get further into the process, maybe not, Mark, I don't know.
Well, you'll be going through open meetings
Yeah.
with DRC
So I
at
think there
this point.
probably will be future notices given once we go down the road.
I have a question for, what's the other size lots in Visionary over there in Archibald?
Archibald Estate, I think, is a little bit bigger, and we have some townhome product there too, and some active adult, so there's
Yeah.
a different product types there.
But the housing ones, like on
The
that,
single family.
like this road behind, that butts up behind it, what's the size?
I think
I-
single family was
I
75
wanna
to
say
8,000,
somewhere around
7,500.
8,000 is
Yeah,
my
that's what I was
guess.
gonna say,
And I wasn't the
8,000.
developer on that project.
Oh, come on, Ben.
I
When
should
that-
know that.
when
I
that
can
sub-
get that to you, Blair.
I have them.
They are bigger than what we're planning here.
I don't, I
We
got
didn't
a
have this
concern
overlay
with the
available to
small
us when we
lots
did that.
myself, but.
Jeff lives there and he has, what'd you say, 8,000?
Yeah, I think they're 70, they're 0.15, so they're 7,200 to 8,000 square feet for like the box ones. I mean, I know the corner lots end up getting a little bit bigger due to setbacks and road curves, but.
It was built with an overlay as well, so
Mhm.
it was kind of custom built where you, like I said, I think you have an 8,000 minimum on your single family standard zone. So Archibald came in as an overlay, as Edgewood, I think it was the original name, then we changed the name to Archibald. But like I said, it's got a lot of townhome products. The single family is sold out there, and we've got about 40,
Yeah.
45 townhomes left.
Yeah, so the lot I got was 6,600, and then there's anywhere, 8,100 I'm seeing. So most of them were, 66 with all the way up to, 81.
I think your minimum was
So-
6,000 there.
Yeah, that makes
Yeah,
sense.
on the Edgewood overlay, your minimum was 6,000 on the
Yeah.
single family.
So not much smaller, and we've got good house plans there. I'm 4 bedrooms, 2.5 bathrooms in mine with a 3-car garage, so we got space. This is,
Questions for Jeff? I don't. All right. Council, I guess I'd entertain a motion.
I'll move to adopt this ordinance.
Motion by Councilmember Holt to adopt the resolution, seconded by Brett and Lyle Vance. Let's see. Wes, I'll start with you.
West Side.
Brett, I.
Lyle Vance, aye.
Blair, I,
Jeff Odie.
Motion passes.
They're little.
I know what I want, but
You good to go? Okay. All right. Discussion and consideration of adopting resolution number 24-21, approving a joint agreement between Tremonton City and Box Elder County School District for the use and rental of facilities. This is kind of your specialty there,
Yeah.
Mark. Fill us in.
Yeah, so I've worked with the school district here and there throughout my career with Tremonton, and we rely heavily upon school facilities, especially to run our junior jazz basketball leagues. We've used them for volleyball, for just special clinics and classes. And anyways, for 21 years, they've charged us $10 an hour, and they, as our old contract or our old agreement came due, we talked to them, and they said their business administrator, smart guy, said we need to up that, and so $20 an hour is the biggest change. Other than that, we've cleaned up some language to allow for outdoor facilities to be used for free both ways. We're able to manage our rental period with our own staff, so we don't have to add any custodian wages or anything else, and we'll be able to. I think it might be a couple dollars a kid more to be able to cover that fee. So it shouldn't be a huge burden on anybody. But to use the facilities we definitely need them. So the school district's already signed it, and we're just looking for approval to get the mayor to sign it.
I'll make a motion that we adopt resolution number 24-21.
I second it.
Motion by Lyle Vance and seconded by Blair. Let's see, Brett?
Red eye.
Lyle Vance, aye.
Blair, aye.
Jeff Hodi.
West side.
Motion passes. Thank you, everybody. Discussion and consideration of adopting resolution number 24-22, appointing Caden Grover to serve on the Tremonton Planning Commission and reaffirming and appointing existing Planning Commission members. And this is going to you, Jeff.
Yes, so now that I've taken a position with the city to be city planner, Caden will act as my replacement and take the rest of my term on planning commission. He has a background working with the USDA and works at the office just on the other side of the overpass. Has a good agriculture and water resources background. His dad's also had a position in Weber County with planning for his entire career.
Ogden City and Weaver County.
So he's got a good background in planning, good background in water resources, and I think a very valuable viewpoint on discussions we've had together privately about planning and things to Tremont City needs.
And if I may add, I interviewed him, and I am excited about his willingness to be on the planning commission. The other thing I really like that he gives that we haven't had in the past is that agricultural view, and I think that's so important. So I think that will really add to the planning commission to have that.
Well, all right. I guess there's no other comments.
I'll make a motion.
Did you,
Sorry, you have a comment?
did you have a comment?
I do have a question. I appreciate that in the resolution, it mentions the names of the members, but we've never been informed of who they are, what their backgrounds are, or anything. I don't want to hold things back, but I would like to find out that information.
Maybe we can, maybe you two, Brett, you can get together and you can be filled in on who the members are. Okay, Blair?
I make a motion that we adopt resolution 24-22, appointing Caden Grover to serve as planning commission.
Second it.
Motion by Blair and seconded by Lyle Vance. Let's see. Lyle?
Lyle Vance, aye, and welcome.
Thank you.
Blair, aye.
Jeff Hodi.
West side.
And welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Thank you for your willingness to serve. We appreciate it very much. And before Jeff steps down, we want to welcome, we're glad you're aboard. And you had your experience tonight. You did very well, and we just appreciate. I know that you spent a lot of time clearing up files that needed to be cleared up. Spent about a week doing that. But anyway, thanks and welcome aboard.
And I think he's going to be a real asset to Mark and helping him a lot with the planning. I
Absolutely.
feel very strongly about
Yeah,
that.
that's very true. Okay, that ends our new council business. Consent agenda. Council, we have the warrant, register, and the financial statements. We can make this all in one vote if you're okay with it. By adopting the council, by adopting the consent agenda.
I don't have to make a motion, do I? I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
Second it.
Motion by Wes and seconded by Brett. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Calendar items and previous assignments. Review of the calendar. We have League of Cities and Towns coming up middle of this month.
Something you talked about last 2 weeks ago was the county water plan kickoff.
Oh, yes.
meeting.
Yes, that's coming up on the 11th. hope that we'll all be able to be there. This is something that I think, Caden, you'll definitely want to attend this because it's right down your alley, what we need to talk about. There will be no council on April 16th, as will be at Utah League of Cities and Towns Conference, the mid-year conference. And then our next council meeting will be May 7th.
So Councilmember Holt asked me to send out maybe a timeline of what the budget process will be. And this has a little bit, high level. So May 7th is our next council meeting, and that's when the tentative budget will be adopted. It's common that the tentative budget comes to the council. We talk about what was included in that tentative budget, and then over the next 2 meetings, we talk about how we can adjust that if needed. And then the final adoption would be June 18th, which is by state statute. You adopt the tentative budget the first meeting in May, and you adopt the final budget the last meeting in June.
Okay. Mugs and Bananas Car Night coming up. This is the big one. And we're looking forward to that on June 22nd. Tremont and Hay Days on the 19th and 20th. So that's almost getting clear through the summertime. Let's see, any other unfinished business we need to discuss? Mark?
No, I don't have any.
Okay. City administrator reports and comments. Let's see, you have anything for us?
I don't have anything extra.
Okay. DRC meeting reports?
We didn't have one last week, and we don't have one tomorrow because the lack of members available,
Okay.
so.
All right. Everybody's on spring break.
So Mark, is Jeff going to
He'll chair those meetings.
chair those? Okay.
Mhm. And as well as planning commission.
Department head reports. Let's see, Chief, you have anything for us?
Things. So, I just want to update you on the problems with the building. They're all taken care of. The furnace has been replaced, mold issues are resolved. We're doing some renovative stuff on the flooring at the PD, and we should have that done hopefully this week. So I know that came up last council meeting. I just want to put it on the record. It's all been taken care of. The other thing is we just arrested Box Elder's most wanted. Today, he was actually in Tremont, a different Box Elder most wanted. Seems like we get one and another one pops up somewhere. The biggest thing is to communicate with the public as well as the council. We're not going to tolerate that in our city. We closed the search warrant drug house last week, and we also arrested that fugitive. So we're going to keep doing what we do. I hope they go elsewhere and the message gets across. The last thing I want to talk to the council, well, 2 other things. We're working on the parade preparations this year. I'd like to get something, I'm working with the county to try to get this, just some type of signage or ropes down the road. After that, we kind of back briefed it with the community, and there was a lot of close calls with kids running in the road with all the vehicles. A lot of cities will barricade all the way down. I don't think that's super feasible for us, but just to have some signage, ropes, some line, and then I'm going to reach out to the county, see if we can get additional resources so we can try to keep kids out of the road. That's my worst fear. So we're going to do everything we can to make it as safe and fun as possible. Last thing, I want to announce that we got another grant through the Jason Reed Protect and Serve Foundation. I'll send you an invite if you guys want to come out. They come out and they bring a big check and take some photos. It's actually really cool. And it stemmed from a really great lady who started the foundation when her brother passed away in the line. So she's going to come out, and yeah, it's great that they support us so much. They supported us last year as well, and we'll just keep doing what we do. Any questions for me?
When's that?
I will get you the exact date. I don't want to tell you the wrong one right now, but I think it's the 11th at 11. So, cool. Thank you, council.
Thank you for all you're doing.
Brady, what you got for us?
Guess you weren't the most wanted because you're gonna.
Second most wanted. Now I'm number
Now
one.
you're.
Just want to give a shout out for a couple of things. The Great Utah Shakeout is coming up. The earthquake exercise, we'll be jumping in to participate in that from the fire department perspective. Updating our earthquake response policy and then training on it. Next thing I wanted to just bring up is just a shout out to the members of the fire department. This last couple of months, there's a lot of effort that goes into everybody recertifying their medical certifications. A lot of hours being put in by the members to extra hours, not just training once a week or, a lot of extra hours. And as well as like tonight, there's classes going for ADO pumper, which is a certification to drive and pump fire engines. And so tremendous amount of extra hours going into training. So I just want to give a shout out to those members who are stepping up. That's all I have to report, unless you have questions for me.
I just wanted to make one comment. We had, Kathy and I had the opportunity to bring a group of young boys over to the fire department, and Chief Hanson gave us a great tour. And what was so impressive to me is you remembered every one of those boys' names the whole way through, and I think they had just a wonderful time, and
Good.
it's a great service that you guys
Thank you. I
provide.
think they had a good experience.
And I got one more thing, Mayor. When the last day of moving all this furniture and all that, we had all of Jeff's stuff outside. One phone call, 4 guys. They're tougher than us in public works. But it's very much appreciated, and we know that it's a team both ways, We work really good together, everybody in the city. If I asked Chief Cordova for something, I'd get it, and they ask us, and we do all we can, so I'm proud to be a member of this team of the city, so.
Thank you. That's very nice. Thank you. Council reports. Oh, let's see. Sarah, did you have anything for us that you wanted to share?
Farmers Market, May 4th, starts the season.
First Farmers Market, May 4th.
Oh, we didn't put it on the calendar.
No.
Kind of my fault.
Okay.
Mark.
Gonna sneak right up on us.
All right. Okay. Council reports. Let's see. Let's start with you, Jeff.
One item on tomorrow, from 4 to 6 o'clock, the Neighborhood Nonprofit Housing Corporation has an open house over in Smithfield at their units that they've developed over there. If anybody's interested in seeing the housing that they developed, you can come on board.
Is that the same one in Smithfield?
It's a big one, so I just think it's another unit within the complex.
But it's in Smithfield.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Is that all you have?
That's it.
Blair?
Okay, had a little discussion with a couple of people, and when we don't report anything, they wonder what it is we're even doing as city councilmen, so. Anyway, my area is over DCR. We haven't had a meeting for a week, and not this one coming up. And also, I'm over financial reviews. There's really nothing to report, so thank you. But hey,
Did you want to report on the economic development or the
I
Kim Gardner?
think we'll keep moving on that and see if we can,
get something?
yeah, I think we'll just keep moving, trying to get something positive going there.
We did have a meeting with Kim Gardner, but I think our scope and their scope was a little off, and so we talked about that, and they're gonna kind of redo
It's
it.
what we're trying to do there. We have a Gardner Institute down in Salt Lake City. They are they are quasi-government entity, and they're ran by University of Utah and Utah State. I can't remember the other.
I think she said they had a really good relationship with
With
Utah,
Utah State.
but it's the U.
Anyway, they're a renowned group for coming up with numbers and doing studies for the area. And economically, in the banking world, there's been several people in our area that try to go get franchises. And they've got the capability, the people do, they've got the finances to do what they're asking to do. But when they get to the franchise will do their little study because they don't want to put their name out there and have it fail. And so they'll do their little study and they look up Tremont, and it shows that we have right now 11,000 people. Well, to get a franchise, just a basic little one, you're talking 20,000 people in that market area to substantiate business for that type of a franchise. Most of them are 25,000. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to prove to the outlying communities that we have more people to do their commerce in Tremonton than just the people who live in Tremonton city boundaries. We all know that people in Deweyville and Portage and Thatcher all do their commerce in Tremonton area. That's why there's a bank on every corner. And they all happen to be profitable. Imagine that. So, you know, we know we have the population here, so we're trying to get an outside entity like the Gardner Institute to come in and give us something with their name on it so that we can start giving that to people to hopefully help get some more eateries and that kind of stuff in here. So that's one more angle we're trying to do. And so we're kind of in the middle of trying to help that along. I'm excited for what's going on, the new change in management. Mark, I'm excited for everything that's going on here. New group of guys, it's great to see what's going on here. Thank you.
So I'm working hard on trying to get public notices and hearings out so all the public can see what's going on well in advance. We've got some things in play, and so start watching the DL Evans LED board. They'll start flashing up those when they become available. And so hopefully we'll start to see a little bit more input on people's awareness. For me, it's so important the public feel like we trust them, we listen, but also the employees feel like we trust them and we listen. Okay, and so our job is to bring that all together. So that's kind of like high on my list right now. So that's where I stand.
Can't talk for Paul for Public Works, but if you notice secondaries, they're really moving quick on secondary. I believe that'll be up and running this summer when we didn't think it would be. But
Excellent.
a lot of traffic on that road, that behind closed road sign. We've kept the fire department notified that, you know, if they go, there's only 20 minutes, but, you know, we've been trying to keep them going. But yeah, I think everything's going very well right now, so.
Very good.
Can I ask a question kind
Yes.
of related to that? And I'm maybe forgetful, but the two retention ponds that are being built for the water that will ultimately feed the well, the time frame on those?
The ARS?
I think you're talking.
Oh, the
about
equalization basin?
basins, aren't
Yes.
you?
Yeah, they'll be up, the one will be up and running this year. The other one, until we start pumping and can get all that done.
The other one hasn't started yet.
Yeah.
We can get
That'll-
one running this year. That's
Yeah,
good.
yep.
We have to. I think we have to, before we can start those pumps, that has to be going. I think that's part of.
So
I don't know,
so
not same day, yeah.
one on the Central Canal, which we pump a ton off of the Central Canal.
Right.
And that's the one that will be built. It's pretty much done. It'll be before the water goes into the canal that it's done. And what it does is if we pump more than our maximum, then it will release extra water at the end of the edge of the canal. But most of the day, we're pumping less than our maximum. And so then it will refill that basin. That's how it equalizes the canal. The one on the East Canal, we have the property for it. If River's Edge comes and starts to do a development, they will be required to put a pump station in off the East Canal. It'll be the first one off the East Canal. And that's when we will be required to put this equalization basin in off of the East Canal. So if it kind of depends on their timing and the canal timing and everything, but it could happen next construction season, but it might not. So it just kind of depends on when they start building.
At least we have the ground.
We do, yep.
Oh.
And we do have money to build it too.
Right.
So just through one of the water infrastructure grants that we received.
Would we want to jump on top of that and get building it so that inflation doesn't devalue our
Yeah,
money?
I think we would. It would have to be next fall because we would not have time before the canal
Right.
comes in right now.
And we currently have the funding for that. Also, the ASR is also funded, so.
And yeah, there's some concern that if we don't build it, or if we build it and don't fill it, then it's a weed patch. Or if we build it and fill it and don't use it, then it's evaporation of water. So there's some concern. But if we can time it right to where when we're needing it, it's built, that's kind of our ultimate goal.
Well, I would like to thank everybody for coming out here tonight. We appreciate your time and sitting through these meetings. Sometimes it's a lot harder to sit down there through these meetings than it is probably to sit up here. One comment, there has been some concern about public body meetings. We had our legal counsel review this for us. And I'll just briefly mention here that with our advisory meetings and these kind of things, we are fully within we can go ahead and do these without having to public notice them. What they did was they gave us, there's 4 items that that must be fulfilled, all of those 4 items before we have to public notice, take minutes, have a recorder, and all of those kinds of things. We have the Arts Committee, which is it's a body that has been appointed by the city council. They actually do deal with dispersing funds and excuse me, and that kind of thing. That was done by ordinance or resolution, I'm not sure which, but anyway, the council organized the Arts Committee. Any other committees that are just advisory committees have not been identified, or they have not been set up by ordinance or resolution. They don't expend or disperse any funds. They're not supported by tax funds, the members, the volunteer members. And so they have to fill all 4 of these in order to be considered a body that needs to do a public notice and that kind of thing. The other thing is that they have some sort of authority to make a decision. An advisory committee strictly is just that, an advisory committee. So with that, I think we're good to go with our advisory committees that we've set up. And and I don't think I have anything else. We can use one more motion, council.
Make the motion, we adjourn?
I'll second it.
Moved by Wes and seconded by Brett. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everybody.
What happens if we say nay?